Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Divinity Original Sin. We're in episode 5, and I am a damn fool. We haven't even started this episode yet, and I already know the title that I'm going to give it. This video will be titled SNSO. SNSO. Save now, save often. And I know one of my friends has just started laughing. And yes, because I've already recorded this episode. I made it 50 minutes in, and I died. And had no saves. So, have to go back to the beginning. So I have discarded that. And we are now going to redo everything I did. And this time, save before we go into the dangerous place. Alright, first thing. Go down here to the harbor. And go talk to the captain. Oh, yes.
Ah, how intolerant. And yet I am a tad jealous of that jabbering little jester. To know all. It is
I guess I should let that,
devoutly to be
because I've already heard this. He's upset that the imp in Homestead has access to all knowledge or something.
Life without mystery, life without wonder. What is this pseudo-philosophical flower-child claptrap? The greater one's knowledge, the vaster its extent, the more monumental the questions become that loom on the ever-retreating horizon. Let us learn, Hunter, whether you like it or not, and through wisdom grow ever more mighty.
I disagree with him on this case, because his position seems to be
that famous Scorpius temper of yours.
that one of two things. You are either dedicated to knowing everything, or you know nothing. Despite the fact that's not what our guy's arguing here, it's that knowing everything would be
I
boring.
wouldn't let it all within 500 yards of my loving nature.
But endeavoring to learn is a good thing.
Ahoy, sailor! Aye, that Cecil's worse than a rooster. Crowing all around town about matters he ought to know are better kept quiet. Well, if you know about the staff, I suppose you also know it's gone without a trace. For my part, I haven't a clue where it could have gone. Overboard, stolen, or vanished into thin air. Though I'm quite eager to see it returned, I've got a reputation to uphold, you know. Wouldn't hurt to ask some of my men. I tried myself, but sailors tend to be a bit tight-lipped when they're afraid of getting one another in some trouble. Seaman's code, you know. Not to rat out a fellow sailor.
Why? Is that why we never say sauce? Here, now that you mention it, I noticed Dietmar, a fellow merchant travelling with us, carrying a sealed box off the ship during the attack. At the time, I figured he was just escaping with his personal effects. But it could well have been that staff you're talking about. Well, sure, I saw him slip off the ship, but I haven't a clue where he could possibly be now. Captain Conrad's the man to ask for such matters.
Heard anything about the whereabouts of the magic stick yet? What? That weasel has it for sure. But I'll tell you this. I didn't speak of that stuff to a soul on board. If he's the one who took it, he must have known it was on the ship before stepping foot on her decks. I'm sure he'll make a run for it, probably by boat. I'd look for him on an out-of-sight beach somewheres. He's probably there now trying to launch a vessel in private, if he hasn't already escaped, that is.
Alright, at this point during my failed playthrough, or failed recording, I journeyed back into the tutorial area and checked there. He ain't there. So, we're not going to bother doing that.
I said to him, I said myself, if I don't start earning an extra gold piece now, I'll walk it out.
Let's take the teleport to the north.
Where are you, Jake?
Rest in peace,
Are you
darling.
playing without me?
That shovel has proven worth its weight, it seems.
Indeed. And who knows what manner of riches we'll unearth together with this tried and true treasure digger.
Enough to finish this mission with a long vacation in the tropics, gazing side by side at a burgundy horizon, if we're lucky.
What trickery is
Where
this?
are you?
That's not Jake.
Are you here, Jake?
It's a rotting
Jake!
sheep's corpse. It seems someone snatched Jake's body.
Yep, so we discovered the sheep corpse in place of Jake's body. And we came over here and harassed the mortician about it.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or of those A sheep? That's a whole heap of nonsense. Don't bother me with such wild tales.
I did charm before. And it worked. But it was close. Okay, I'm much more intimidating than I am charming. Okay. Much easier.
Come now, there's no need for all that then. I'll tell you the story as best I know it. I buried that blasted sheep, but I swear on my lucky left foot I had nothing to do with that body disappearing. 1 minute it was on my slab, you see. I left the room for just a moment to answer the bell in the front parlour, and when I returned, the body was simply gone. In its place was a sack containing more gold coins than I could even count. The message was clear. Silence is golden. My business has been declining right alongside the rest of our blighted city. And that sack of gold was worth more than I made during one of the good years. I needed cash, and someone needed my silence. I knew I had to bury something or risk being found out. So that night, I stole into the market and made off with Bertia's fattest sheep. It was a bloody waste to stick so much fine meat into the ground to rot, but it had to be done. The next day, the pallbearers retrieved Jake's coffin, sealed to hide the body's terrible wounds, none the wiser that within the casket lay nothing more venerable than a slaughtered beast. Now, you can imagine I've spent more than my share of restless nights wondering who could have wanted that cadaver and for what purpose. I'm not an inch closer to imagining the why, but I've got a few inklings as to the who. Near as I can reckon, there are only 4 people who could have been involved. Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, Theleron's apprentice Evelyn, and Esmeralda. Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows.
It was at this point that I realized I never found the doctor and his apprentice. So after we talk to this guy, we're going to go talk to them.
It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary. And there was something about her that night. Some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts. That there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlor. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air, before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it.
Let's try reason. I'm even better at reason.
Look, there's no need for all that. Take the gold then, and we'll call the rest...
Alright. I was going to try to break the door, but, no. Or try to lockpick the door.
Careful now. Your head's growing all swollen and saffrons, I dare say.
Alright, last time I did not take the money from him. I just left.
Made a big change on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Now, where is this Bertie
Made a big
person?
change on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Heavenly herring! Delicious dogfish! Yours for a scrap of gold each!
Well, hello there. Made a big change on your block with a
Source hunters, eh? All right, proper, we're finally getting a hand. Things is chaos. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget, the finest in me herd. That louse! Did he even bother grilling a single luscious chop? I bet he wasted every last morsel. Captain Aureus will have a thing or two to say about this.
This is intolerable. The momentum of time is slipping through our hands, and you fritter it away on conversation. Loathing mutton. Focus, Source Hunter. Focus.
What? Oh, it's you! What news? Jake? Murdered, you say? Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Now I remember. Well, I'm sure the facts will prove me innocent. Keep investigating. You'll see for yourselves in time.
Pretty much the response I expected.
To bemuscle you! Scrolls to entussle you!
I am on the trail, Source Hunter.
Sigurd's beard, what a find!
Yes. What do you want?
Interesting devices, these pygmies among pyramids. They may be small of stature, but their potential is gigantic. Deceivingly clever. It is a trait all demonic machinations share. Yes, demonic. So very obvious to the trained eye. These apparatuses have been forged among the voids of the outer realms, where the light of stars does not reach. You do well to treat them with the utmost care. Perhaps it would even be for the best if you sling them into the reaches of infinity that surround the shelter plane. Better safe than sorry. It is an uncommonly trite thing to say, but it applies to all things demon-dreamt and devised.
I've got my eye on you, Baron. I am a duke, potato-eating peasant.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
How I pity you. You have a mouth, but do not taste. Eyes, but do not see. Ears, but do not hear. So let me state this clearly, Hunter, that you must always remember, always, that when demons are in play, you are the hunted, and that it takes stupendous cunning and strength to escape their snares. The very moment you are certain you have them in your grip, that is the moment their traps spring, and it is their grip that shatters your soul. Dueling with demons is like playing chess against an opponent with queens for pawns. They sit and grin while your pieces slip in the sweaty fear that drops from your beleaguered brow.
So far, I'm not a fan of Jehan. He is a bit frustrating. And let's go see Captain Aureus next. Also, last time I did not go and speak to the other people that he named. I only went and spoke to Evelyn and Thaleron.
Greetings, these doors.
Oh, this is the cook.
Serving the 7.
That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
Mr. Head Honcho Legionnaire! The Source Hunter says that creep Robert stole my sheep.
And?
Well, aren't you going to arrest that stinking thief?
I'll have a talk with him, madam. You, again. Do feel free to depart from Sicile at your earliest convenience.
Not a fan of that guy either.
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome. What? I'd never. If you must know, I was merely checking up on Maxine, the mayor's cat. What a delight she is. The temperament of a tiger, the grace of a leopard, and the manners of a lady all rolled into one. A perfect puss, if ever there was one.
Nothing to say about that, Jehan?
Sir, no, sir.
have some pity.
You there? You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut.
Okay, it's this building over here.
My word!
Fantastic.
Tenderfoot so long. But if one were to reduce... Oh, a source hunter. Imagine that. Quite a bit more petite than the last of your kind I encountered, aren't you? Yes, by nearly 20 centimeters of tibia, as my memory serves. But, no matter. Even if it couldn't spare its heartiest specimen, I'm sure the Order sent the individual with the next highest probability of success. Yeah? Me?
He is a strange
Well,
man.
I'm more than a little surprised you haven't heard of me. Perhaps I can jog your memory. It was I who cured the Duchess of Arata of her unslakable thirst. A simple pinch of Atropa belladonna in her morning tea. I who discovered that aging itself can be halted by a single application of Cicuta Douglasii on the tongue. Not to mention that it's been my guidance that has permitted my apprentice Evelyn to make quite a name for herself around Sicile of late. Yes. If that's how we're referring to the secretive use of a revolutionary healing method she refuses to share with her own master. She's in the other room as we speak. Perhaps you can prevail upon her to offer a demonstration. She's gotten hold of a stone, supposedly capable of fantastic feats of healing, but she won't let me take the briefest look at it. But she claims to have gotten the relic from a little northern town, Silverglen by name, and that an abbot there blessed it with the power to heal. Utter rubbish, I say. But with these blasted undead haunting the travel routes, I can hardly march up to Silverglen to learn the truth myself. Well, she certainly possesses a critical eye and an exacting manner when it comes to making difficult medical decisions. I expect she'll be a very successful healer in her own right when the time comes. She is learning from the best, after all. Certainly, what would you like to know? The counsellor. Terrible loss, that. Though we were hardly more than acquaintances, I knew him to be a devoted civil servant. From what I can tell, it seems to be a simple case of jealousy turned violent. The affairs of his wife, Esmeralda, were hardly a secret, you know. I've applied myself to that problem for 2 years and still haven't come a step closer to solving it. I declare it an act of the Almighty's, if I believed in such things. Some events, Source Hunter, can be neither controlled nor understood by mere men.
Healing stone. Interesting indeed.
So,
Nothing
which of you is
sets
more
me on
deserving
edge
of
like
life?
inexplicable magic.
Excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Seven do you think you are barging in here? Out! I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing! But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but one healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation, but perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, a cattle trader found him, nearly dead, but not quite so, and brought him here straight away. Quite the venerable staple of Sicile, Stephen, and recently blessed with his 3rd grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Sicile is familiar with Grinning Stephen, and as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. You are?
Boris's life has just begun. We can't...
Yes. Boris deserves to...
Boris it is? Yes. I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man, but my heart breaks for the other.
Oh,
Thank
No,
you.
no,
somewhere.
this is highly abnormal.
What
What is this?
batch
This
of
lightning.
I wish there were enough stones for both of us. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us.
tone, soothing a corpse's troubled mind. Can't have gotten far.
I feel no pleasure in bidding...
Can't say I didn't want to live. Enjoy what remains of your life, will you?
Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. Sorry, friend.
I know it's
I
here
wish there were enough
somewhere.
stones for both of us.
I hardly want to ruin this particular batch of party elixir with too much wormwood.
I feel no pleasure
Thank
in
you.
bidding...
Thank you eternally for that strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from a healing stone. I've never seen anything like it. And the stone looks different now, too. Like it's devoid of life. I begin to wonder if its magical properties survived your little reaction. Is that so? Well, I handled the corpse myself, indeed, but I hardly knew the man in life. I was shocked when Ahu asked me to come to the crime scene, but Theliron had taken ill, and the responsibility fell to me. I arrived at the inn, where the body lay just where it had fallen. The injuries were like nothing I'd ever seen. A single intricate laceration wove like lace around every inch of his skin. Neither a beginning nor an ending point were discernible. I examined the corpse and recorded what information I could. I personally delivered the corpse the short distance to the mortician's house. As far as I know, everything was, as far as a magical murder is concerned, quite normal. I've been studying under Theliron for some time now, but that task, being asked to play the gods, was the first time I've ever questioned my, well, suitability for the work. I've a passion for this work, you see. A passion to see things put in order, from a flesh wound healed to an entire city made resistant to a fatal illness. What right has something as trivial as a wound or as senseless as an epidemic to take a human life?
I'm beyond grateful.
Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject
I guess we need to return to the end of time.
Welcome back, source hunters. I've been eagerly expecting you. You found another starstone, haven't you? Go on. Ask me how I know. Aha! Mere child's play when you know what to look for, and luckily, I do. Do you remember when you first arrived on this plane? When the dormant portal that led us to this hall sprang to life? It's happened again, my friend. Another portal has reignited. The end of time is growing by the stone. It's all connected somehow. You, this place, the void, the stones. Soon we'll have unraveled the whole truth. Oh, how I do love a good mystery. You don't imagine that I'd presume to explore it before you? No, that would be most unmannerly. And not to mention, well, No, I'm sure it's nothing. It's just that beyond the portal, I sense a presence that I can't quite account for. It is at once powerful and faint. Perhaps only a shadow, perhaps more. But this is only speculation, of course. Come, let me show you the way. Once you're through, you'll be able to report exactly what we're dealing with.
I didn't do this last time either. We are, however, going to save before we go through this portal. just in case.
I wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
What an impressive room.
So it is. A hall fit for kings.
You. It cannot be you. But it can only be you. The Guardians. Those I deceived. Those that deserted me. But oh, how weak you have become. As weak as you used to be strong. Look about you. You used to lead, and now you follow. Ignorant of your faults, and ignorant of your fate. That it has come to this. Woe to the world that it has come to this. He won't believe me, the fiend. But they have come, as I prayed they would. Could they see?
Okay. Well, let's see if there's anything interesting over here before we go anywhere.
Well, wouldn't you look fine with a strapping warrior at your side? Or is it mages you prefer? An eagle-eyed ranger? A stealthy pickpocket? Take your pick of my swords for hire. Of course, Chief. But maybe you ought to get rid of some of your old ones first. Never does well to sour one batch in sight of the other.
Okay, I guess I use him to recruit more guys if I need more guys. You know what that means, Jahan? You're now disposable. Esteemed generals, all of Riverlawn thanks you. All of Riverlawn is in your debt. Gods and kings bow before you both, and it is right and proper that they do so. Even they had thought all was lost, that the world was to meet its end, but you turned the tide. Many have fallen, so very, very many, and I know you have suffered a great personal loss as well. No generals that I sympathize deeply. So let us meet in the Hall of Heroes, both to celebrate and to remember, to honor the living and to honor the dead. Signed, Henry, son of William, righteous king of Ferrol.
Who do you think that creature in there was?
I haven't the foggiest. But the eerie bit is that she seems to know us.
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home, is it not? Most certainly. Ah, yes, the Hall of Heroes. Once upon a time, great feasts were held there in honor of heroes graced by the gods themselves. In that room, mortals and immortals dined side by side. I can't think of a better place to gather new heroes, should you come across such rarities, so that when needed, they can serve you in your quest against the Void. Like you, she is a mystery. But she seems to know you, doesn't she? Perhaps you'll meet her again, and we'll learn more about her, and about you.
How might I serve our mission? Threads I weave and tales I see. All. She is one whose history is shrouded in darkness. She is more than a woman, though less than a goddess. She knows you. You have wronged her. She is part of the end, though she longs to be part of endlessness. The threads tell me that once, oh, how many eons lie hidden in so small a word. Once, you strode across that hall in shining armor, a sovereign to all who beheld your might. I can clearly read that armies you have led, demons and dragons you have conquered, that you have ascended. But how can this be now that you stand before me a human, a mortal? How far has your soul fled from the being it used to be? New threads, more threads we need.
Okay. Oh, I guess we're done here. Okay. Let's go back to the North Gate and go have a word with Esmeralda. Who is right here?
Oh, where is my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
Feeling hot under the collar?
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something would happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, milady. We legionnaires are highly trained soldiers who fear neither...
The hunter returns! I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth.
Well, what are you selling? It's a much better sword than the one I'm using. It's also expensive. I have enough money for it, though. Buy that. Buy that and the plate. I don't need any of the shells. Well, there are things that I may need, but as I understand it, everything you sell to a vendor stays in their inventory. So if I need any of this stuff back, I can just come back and buy it from her later. check that. Can't read it from here. Okay. Nope, need the cooking pot. Okay, that means I'm spending 440 gold. So I have about 300 left. Okay, this is the value here. So if I add 800 to that, yeah. All right. And let's see, sort by type. Read the book. I think we've probably already read this one. Yeah, we have. So that, throw the book in there. Okay. So send the staff over to Jehan as well as the robe.
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something would happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, milady. We legionnaires are highly
he's
trained
fine.
soldiers who fear neither orc nor demon.
Oh, but what if you were to be ambushed, caught unawares? Oh, catch me, for I might faint.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
We've got Jehan leading things. We don't want that.
The finest veggies Sizefield's ever seen.
I look considerably less dashing than I look.
Today, I think, a king. The great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines. It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elba, who knew Elliot, who is said to have known Sigurd himself.
What is it this time?
Have some pity.
Yeah, I don't really want to deal with this thing right now.
Fantastic! Bravo! Bravo!
My word!
Bones to bemuscle you, scrolls to entussle you.
How close to leveling up are we?
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
Lonesome? Spiritless? Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim into your routine.
It would be quite far.
No better solution to the zombie problem than a set of silver arrows.
Quite there on the market, it seems. So you're just hanging around again, are you? Waiting for what, exactly? Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I come to my match is when I linger over long while writing my fine.
Toasty! Good luck out there, Hunter. Evil lurks beyond Saiseal's ramparts.
Ugh, I'm dripping.
Alright. Go ahead and do a quick
Soaked
save
to the
before we even
skin.
leave. The place that I died was right over here. So let's avoid that place for now.
I'd prefer to drown my sorrows with ale.
I saw something. I guess it could have been one of my own guys. Oh, we're looping back to the north part of town.
Rest in peace.
As I understand it, we do not want to go there right now.
Ugh, I'm dripping. That creature there looks like it'd like to play fetch with our femurs.
Is that a zombie dog?
Daemon Daemonium. And so let the...
Okay, shooting the bow costs how much? I think it's 4. Okay, and hers probably also 4. Costs 5. Okay. Too far away. Go ahead and let him come all the way down. Okay, that costs 4, so let's there.
You don't have a leg to stand on.
Alright, now we have another fight.
Once my arrow tastes blood, it craves more.
Alright, Jehan. Nobody took damage on that first round, but and the spell costs 6 to use. And we have 7, so let's go. So that's going to cost 3. So we'll go here until we have 3 left. There we go. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Where did that come from? And we need the 4 dead. Although I probably should have put a heal on me, because I might not survive to my next turn. Because of that. Yep, I'm dead. How did you miss? You missed twice. You're point blank range.
Sweet relief.
Lightning crackles from my fingertips.
Mila!
And this will probably be my last turn. Yep. And we load the quick save from before we entered the dangerous area. Well, we have reached 1 hour, so as the episode began, save now, save often. And we saved, so we didn't lose anything. So we'll pick up here next time, guys.
Bony brutes will
So,
never make it inside these
until then,
walls.
want to thank y'all for joining me. Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Excellent.
I'll see y'all
Let's
next
keep
time.
it that way.
And have a good day.